does it mean when a man interrupts a woman while she's talking? A lot more than you think. Here's Phil Donahue in Chicago.
Good morning, Jane. You will not be surprised to learn that men interrupt women more than women interrupt men. Candace West is here. She is assistant professor of sociology at the University of California, Santa Cruz. You're in the middle of research on this matter. I assume you've become more sensitive to this social phenomena, huh?
I think that we both have. It's very difficult to spend your life at this sort of thing without attending to it as you talk every day.
You're looking at Don H. Zimmerman, Ph.D. Dr. Zimmerman is professor of sociology at the University of California at Santa Barbara. You likewise are.
Yes, I find that even though I've been engaged in this, this kind of research, I still find myself interrupting. I think the difference is that when I do it, I notice it, and I try to back off of it.
Yeah. So what? So we interrupt. Why should we care?
What an interruption can do is say, hey, I'm number one, and you're number two. And so what I want to say has first priority, what you want to say has second. You do that time and time again, and pretty soon I feel that women must be getting some kind of a message, and that message is just as you're discriminated against in the job market, you have a rough road to hoe on the interpersonal front as well.
You feel, Miss West, that I assume that the listening is involved here too. Men don't listen as well, do they?
Listening is very much involved. It's a two-way street. A conversation takes two. So does an interview, any form of speech exchange. And what that message suggests is that despite corrections to the division of labor in the family, despite corrections to inequities that exist in the job market, every day, as we talk to one another, whether the talk is work-related or simply for pleasure, we're creating those inequities between us. We're sustaining a power relationship between us.
Unconsciously and involuntarily.
I think so.
Let us show some examples of your research. What you're about to see are a man and woman in conversation. They were asked to engage in this conversation. They didn't know why. Watch who interrupts.
I'm really tired.
My sister's arriving at midnight.
Oh, tonight? Mm-hmm. No, because it's her first visit down here? Or...
Yeah, she wants to see the
campus.
Younger? She's 16. She'll be going to college next year, so she's surveying them all.
Yeah.
I didn't really accept your idea of why you weren't going over to the gallery show over there. Just because it was too crowded or the review was kind of...
Oh, no, I had a class at 11 o'clock.
Oh, you had a class at 11
Yeah,
o'clock?
I had my German class.
Oh, so there's still a potential that you might go over.
Yeah.
So even that isn't an issue.
No, we can't argue about it. Have you gone over?
No, I haven't gone over.
I'll go after
some
this.
Other things.
He's on a roll there. He's it does the tendency to interrupt on the part of men change if there are professional roles involved in the relationship?
We started looking at people who were acquainted with one another, people conversing casually in public places, primarily college students in a university community. When we found that, for example, 96% of all interruptions that occurred there were initiated by males, we took this to the laboratory and set up random selection of people with one another and found that, in fact, there, when people didn't know one another at all, were meeting for the first time, 75% of all interruptions were initiated by men to women.
This also seems to put the lie to this axiom that we've accepted all these years, that women are always talking. The hen
We have a very interesting finding on that score. We checked that out because when men have heard about this, they've attempted, many men have attempted to explain it away by saying, well, we have to interrupt to get a word in edgewise. Women talk all the time. What we did was we counted the number of syllables from the beginning of a person's talk to the point at which they were interrupted, just to see how soon, right? And the findings are roughly men interrupted after an average of 12 syllables, and women interrupted after an average of 25. So over twice as long they waited before they did what interruption they did do. So at least in those terms, it's hard to think about men interrupting women because women talk too much. It seems to be, in fact, the other way around.
Although that comes up again and again, that women talk too much, that the topics they talk about are trivial, that the style of talk they do is different from men's. Conversationally, women do not fail to fight for their rights to the floor. We've looked at this independently to see whether the kinds of things you can do, getting louder over the talk of someone else, recycling portions of what you're saying, but to get in a word.
And then you're uppity if you do that.
You are. You're characterized precisely that way.
Well, yes. The people of women have tried to protest after, learning about this material, and found that the men in their lives were very upset with them.
You must find yourself in conversations often with men who give you the look which in effect says, honey, I can't wait till you stop talking because I've got something brilliant to say which is going to answer everything.
Well, they won't wait till she stops talking, usually.
In all probability. I've begun to look at conversations between doctors and patients, figuring that this would be an archetypical place to start. You've got presumably omnipotent physicians and helpless patients. It's true, the doctors interrupt patients far more often than the reverse, except when the doctor is a woman. And then that relationship turns exactly on its head.
A male patient will interrupt a female doctor.
That's what our analysis shows so far.
How do we change this?
Well, that's a good question. There's one place to start, and I think, and that's in terms of becoming sensitized to what's going on in interpersonal behavior, what's going on in speech. Even though I believe that men will probably still continue to interrupt women to a certain extent, maybe by a lifelong habit or training, it is possible to take the edge off of that, to back off of it, to excuse yourself, to try, resolve to try better.
And I assume you want more and more women to demand the floor when they think it's been unjustly taken away from them.
To demand the floor and to take responsibility in this means, for example, withdrawing support for a conversational partner who's engaged in these sorts of activities.
The bosses, who are often, not always, men, may not know what hit them.
I hope so.
And who knows, it may be good for them. Thanks to you both. This is Phil Donahue in Chicago. Now back to the Today Show in New York.